Hi preschool friends, it's Miss Sadie. I thought I'd come on and say hi so you could see my face and hear my voice. I know that you know I love to be outside and I really love going on nature walks with you every week. So I thought it might be fun to bring you to one of my favorite places called the Stephen J. Young Marsh. It's part of the Missisquoi Wildlife Refuge. As you know, being outside is really important. It's important for our hearts because it fills our hearts. And it's also important for our bodies. It keeps our bodies nice and strong and healthy. And on a day like today, when my brain just wasn't thinking really clearly, it's also a good day for me to take a walk because it helps calm my brain and it helps me make a plan. So, I thought it might be fun to take you with me. Now, you won't be able to follow me and hang out with me like you usually do, but you can watch this video and we can see things together, and maybe you'll see things in the pictures or in the video that I missed, and you can let me know. You might be hearing one animal right now that is trying to give you a clue. Do you hear it? Here's a clue. Now, clue number one, besides the sound that you're hearing, is it's a bird. So this is a bird that you're trying to guess. Clue number two, we sometimes see these birds when we're on the nature trail, and they fly in the shape of a letter V. So it's a bird that flies in the shape of a letter V, and they make this sound. Any ideas? I'm going to turn the camera around so that maybe you can get a look at them. You're going to have to use your detective eyes because they are hiding and they are camouflaged right now. Can you see them with your detective eyes? They're way out in the water. Remember, they're a bird. They fly in the shape of a V and they honk. And if you've guessed that we are listening to Canada geese, you guessed correctly. Good job, preschoolers. So we often will walk from the school to the sidewalk and at the beginning of the nature trail. And when we're walking at the beginning, we're walking through the meadow. And then we walk through you guessed it, the woods or the forest. And after we leave the woods or the forest at school, we are at the marsh. And a lot of you have been interested in knowing just what makes a marsh a marsh. And the cool thing is I'm at one right now. Not the one by our school, but a different one. And here are some clues to figure out when you're in a marsh. The first clue is that there are going to be lots of small trees and shrubs and probably a lot of grasses. And if it's like our marsh at school, you might even see cattails. Sometimes you'll also see pussy willows, especially in the springtime like right now. Do you see those pussy willows? I know, we have a connection. We found some on our school nature trail too. And then things like pussy willows and other willows and small trees and shrubs and cattails, they'll start to grow really close to wet, mucky areas. And so you can start to see some of the water down here mixing in with the grasses. And eventually, the amount of water in the marsh gets bigger, but it's not usually really deep. And it's a favorite place for geese and for ducks and for heron to come in the springtime to make nests and lay their eggs. So take a look around. Hey kiddos, I'm still at the marsh and I've been walking along that path and I just noticed that something's changing. I think I might be leaving the marsh and beginning to enter the woods, just like we do at our nature trail at school. Now, can you remember some of the birds that we tend to hear when we go into the woods or the forest on our nature trail? One bird is black and white, and for part of the year it sings chickadee-dee-dee, and for another part of the year it sings cheeseburger. Cheeseburger. I wonder if we'll hear any now. Look at the shadows of the trees. You're right, the sun's shining today, so we're going to see lots of shadows on the ground. Right now we're seeing the shadows of trees. You might even hear the wind blowing. I can definitely feel it on my face. Hey, look! I think we found something else that's the same in our marsh back at school. Do you see those tall brown plants? Some of them have a little fuzzy fuzz on top still that haven't blown away. Cattails, you're right. There's another connection. Oh my goodness. There's lots of connections. We're in a different trail, but we're finding a lot of things that are the same. I spy with my little eye another connection between this nature trail and the one at our school. Can you see what it might be? Oh, you can see my shadow there too. Here, I'll wave to you. Hi, preschoolers. Do you see my shadow? Well, right by the shadow are those big round tubes that bring water from one side of the trail through to the other side of the trail. And often we call those culverts. And there's one at our nature trail at school that we actually have to jump across. Do you remember that one? Yeah, I think we found another connection. Hey, take a look at this tree in front of me. Do you see something the color blue? Yeah, I do too. What shape is that blue thing? Is it a circle? No. Is it a triangle? Goodness, no. It's you're right, a rectangle. So this blue rectangle on the tree was put there by a person, by a human. And it's there to help walkers like me and walkers like you know where the trail is. Because sometimes it's tricky when you're looking at the ground to figure out if you're on the trail or if you're off the trail. And those are called blazes. And if you look around and you follow the blazes, it tells you that you're still on the trail. Oh, I see one way up ahead. They like to space the blazes out. It's not on every tree. So you've got to use your detective eyes again, which I know you're really good at. And here comes another blue rectangle, or a blaze. So we are still on the trail. Good job, team. There's another blue blaze, but look further up the tree. What do you see? Do you see some really big holes in that tree Sometimes we call them cavities. I'd like you to do some guessing as to what animals you think might make their cozy home inside those holes. Some nature trails, not all, but some, will put a little sign. And it's really important to stop and take a peek at those signs because they often tell you information about the animals that live there, information about the plants that grow there, and sometimes it also gives you information on what you can do to help take care of that nature trail, which is very similar to our school rules of take care of yourselves, oh yeah, take care of each other as well. Take care of your school each day. Show your pride in every way. Alrighty, I think I might have found another connection between this trail and the nature trail at school. Take your eyes, put them at the bottom of the tree trunk. Bring your eyes up, 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 way up, close to the top of the tree. I spy with my little eye a cozy little nest made of leaves. Do you remember who likes to live in those, especially during the winter time? So friends, sometimes grown-ups feel worried too, just like you. And I started to get worried just now while I was walking through these woods because I wasn't sure if the trail went that way or if the trail went that way or if the trail might go that way. And I started to get a little worried that I might not know which way to go. And then I remembered what I always say to you, which is to take 3 deep, slow breaths, like you're smelling in a flower through your nose and you're blowing out birthday candles through your mouth. And that helped me feel a little calmer, and it allowed my really strong brain to start to think about how I could solve this problem. And that's when I remembered I should look around to see if I can find one of the blue blazes. And there it is. That blue blaze is telling me to go that direction. So sometimes when we get really worried, stopping and breathing really is what our bodies need before we can make a plan. I just noticed that there are a lot of sunny spots and a lot of shadowy spots mixed in here. Can you find them in the picture? Dark shadowy spots on the ground and bright sunny spots on the ground. And then if you look more closely, can you see the ice and some of the water? So right now I'm in the middle of the woods that are right next to the marsh. And because it's so shadowy in here, all of the ice hasn't melted yet. A lot of it has, but not all of it, because it only has a little spots of sun to melt it more slowly than where we were at the beginning of the trail. By the way, a fancy word for this mixture of light and shadow is called dappled. So this part of the woods gets dappled sunshine or dappled light, a mix of shadows and brights.